We're back to windy days, too windy to fly, so Thanksgiving's over. The wing was up there so we could throw food on the table. Now it's back down here and I'm going to do the wingtip bow. Now, the wingtip bow, as far as I can tell, and correct me if any of you think I'm wrong, follows the chord. In other words, the chord is the most furthest forward point on the forward radius of your leading edge, straight to the trailing edge is your chord. And of course, if this was semi-symmetrical, coming down on the bottom more, that would be more pronounced. But pretty much it's about 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches up on the leading edge. Now what I've done is I put my jacks back there such that I've got a center one way in the back. You see the center one back there. Then I've got two under the front, a third of the way over and a third on the other end. And what I've done is I raised the back end up so that my cord is level. So once I got my cord level, then I just measured measured from the floor up to there, and that's 45 inches. There we go, 45 inches. Then I come to the back, and since it's over the table, I have to run a straight edge out there. So I run a straight edge out there, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's exactly 45 inches. So I have my cord nice and level, so all I have to do is make my wingtip bow nice and level, coming around all the way around to the front. And the reason I'm doing this is every time I've put a wingtip bow on, or I pre-cut these pieces coming out, pre-cut them according to the plans, the print. It gives you a dimension to cut it to from there and over here. Every time it's been difficult to get the wingtip bow to meet at the back, the front, and then at the 2 points, attach points on these two. So this time I'm going to go, now I have a nice straight cord that I can go ahead and pre-cut these. Just measure off the floor to get my dimension. But before I do any cutting, I'm going to go ahead and do what I'm going to mark it for what it shows on the print here. And that's on the top side is 4 5/8 down and 11 1/2, but going out at that angle. So I can't measure this until I have it marked right there, which would be 5 inches. So that would be 5 1/4 inches down. So I've got to come down and mark it at 5 1/4 inches and make a line like that, and then measure 11 1/2 and move it up and down until it hits that line that I've marked right here, going straight in. But the 5 1/4 down is from the top of the spar. So since we got a 1/4 inch there, we're going to add a 1/4, so it'd be 5 1/2 inches down. So 5 1/2 inches down. Make that mark. And then bring it out, straight out. And this measurement is taken from that there corner right there, where they meet up. And then you come out 11 1/2 inches, so right here is where that meets. So supposedly this is where you would cut it off, and it would be 5/8 of an inch, be about 5/8 of an inch high, and then go at an angle like that, and then the bottom would come at an angle from this point on up to here. So I have the main spar laid out, and that's according to the print, that's where it should be cut. And right away you can see the issue that I have with just following the print, in that the main spar only goes up, I think I measured it once and it's like 1.25 inches, and the rear spar from the bottom goes up like 2.25 inches or something like that, way higher relative, and yet you're real close to the trailing edge. Now you're 2.25 inches above the trailing edge. So I don't know, I'll get that drawn on there and then we'll look at it. On the rear spar you come down 1.25 inches, and then I'll have to draw a line, make a straight line across right through here, 1.25 inches down, and then measure this 7 inches at an angle till it hits that tangent point of that straight line, and that'll give us this point, and then 1/2 inch down, and then just draw a line straight edge from there to there. So you can see there's about 2 inches, at least 2 inches of between the bottom of the spar and the bottom of that tangent point there, where it's supposed to connect. And this one here, it comes straight out. So let's see, that there is something like 600 thousandths there. So you got about 1 inch 600 thousandths. So almost an extra inch higher on the rear spar, and yet you're that close to the trailing edge that you got to bring it down 2 inches from here. That's a pretty steep incline. That's a pretty steep incline from there, coming up 2 inches, and then coming down here, and then continuing to come down here. So if anybody wants to explain that to me, please do. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these to length, because that's not so, the length isn't so critical, because I can trim the wingtip bow to till it matches up in the back and in the front. Before I start trying to align anything, I'm going to put a 1/4 inch spacer in here and clamp it tightly to the aileron, and that makes this pretty firm there. And now we'll go ahead and get the wingtip bow and just try to hold it up there and see where it's going to float to. Well, I got a ballpark mark on this thing, and I'm going to put a straight edge from one end to the other, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut them off right there. And now I remember one of the issues that I ran into before is, if you follow the print, this is going to be short. Now, that could be because the wingtip bow doesn't, the print wingtip bow doesn't match the print markup for these. So I better, I'll figure it out and then I'll mark what it should be. Now I'm not going to finish the side of this at all. I usually assemble the whole thing and then finish it on the wing. I've seen other people that do the half round and everything before they assemble it. So as you can see, if you follow their dimensions, this end ends up pretty high and pretty far away from the trailing edge. So if you try to bring that down, when you try to let's see, put that there, bring this in here. So either this goes way up on the main spar, or and we're still not down all the way because we haven't notched that out yet, but you can see how high that makes this here part. So I don't know if we lower this, and yeah, those clamps are a little stronger than I thought, but I'm thinking lower the trailing edge one personally and bringing it down as far as it'll go. And I've already measured this, and relative to just following the cord, and this here is not far off of where it would be if I just did my original idea of just following the cord with a level. It'd actually be a little bit lower. Of course, that there's not notched out or dropped down in there. And according to my measurements, that would actually be off the bottom of that, because I already tapered it up some. It would come out, should have just left it almost straight, the rear spar. All right, now I lowered the main spar tangent point so that it's 45 inches, same as that, 45 inches off the floor. In other words, and the cord is level. So in other words, making it level with the cord. And if we do it like that, that puts it, like I thought, just about off of that. Of course, that coming down will rotate this possibly up just slightly. Might rotate it up just slightly, but I'll have to build that back up. So I think it's time I go ahead and trim that in the back and just start fitting it in. But I think this is what I want to do, is go level with the cord line of the wing. Anybody got other opinions on that? Let me know.